Didon Vered, Canadian Carl Howarth, Brazilian Paulo Junior. The referee today is Yusri Rudolph. His assistants, Gianni Ficini and Peter Manastrisky. And the fourth official is David Gantar, and we are underway. Eddies wearing their white kit with the blue shorts and white socks, moving left to right in the first half. Fury wearing their home kits, the all red. Red shirts, red shorts, red socks, moving right to left in this opening half. So Fury in possession. It's Timbo just outside the 18-yard box. It comes back to Pézère. And he'll play it on the right for Alves. Battling through an injury last week, but starting to feel a lot better at training this week, Graham.
Yeah, and it was really clear last week. You could see every time he was lunging in for a challenge or having to make a slide tackle, it was taking this guy quite a bit of time to get back to his feet and grimacing in pain. But you had to be impressed with the effort that you saw from Rafael Alves, arguably their best defender last week in Carolina.
Eddie's in possession on the left side of the midfield as they work it into the Ottawa half, making a run Nyasi, but if they're able to gain possession to Guzman, works it into the center circle, Steele. And it's played back here towards Pézère, to the boos of a handful of people in attendance today at Clark Field. As Eddie Edward gains possession, down the right he goes, and with a cross, but just unable to connect with his striker up top as Alves plays this forward into the Eddies half. Comes back to their keeper, Matt Van Oekel. Funny they're not booing now. It's only bad when the opposition sends it back to their goalkeeper. On the left, making a run is Johan Smith. It's Nyasi, but set out, and this is going to be a corner as Alves got the last touch. So first corner for Athens Rugs goes to FC Edmonton here in the third minute. Looks like Nyasi will take it. And it'll be a right-footed in-swinger from the far corner flag here in the fourth minute. Eddie's looking for their first goal of the season. Ottawa has one. Both sides looking for their first win with one draw in 3 matches here today. As this one, not much happening on the short corner, and this will be a goal kick for Ottawa. Pézère will take this short to Fernando Timbo. Back to Pézère. Crowd really getting on Pézère to play this, but he's in no rush. Doesn't have to do anything here.
Well, no pressure coming on him, and just not a lot of movement as he's directing traffic.
And we got a free kick called against Edmonton as Vered was knocked down by Diakite, one of the newcomers for the Eddies. Jake Keegan another. The other 9 in the starting lineup, all returnees for the Eddies. They are without some key players who are injured. Alan Zebi, Richie Jones, Sadi Jalali, Tyson Farrago, Tomi Amiobi have all featured for the Eddies at some point, as has Marco Alexic, the youngster. Adam Eckersley, the other player on the bench for FC Edmonton. For Ottawa on the bench, Brian Oliveira, Mosey Giorio, Andrew McRae, the backup keeper, Dennis Chin, Mauro Eustachiou, Lance Roseboom and Marcel Dion. Free kick, Eddies here in the 6th minute. Well, 45 yards out. On the left, taken here by Rodales. Into the area, headed away by Alves. It's sent into the Edmonton half. And here's Eddie Edward. Playing this wide right for Dustin Correa. Dispossessed, good work here by Vered. He leaves it for Johnny Steele. Into the Eddies half. Plays the ball forward on the right. This is Paulo Junior. He'll lay it off. Bailey back to Paulo Junior with the cross. And this deflects out for an Ottawa corner. Their first for Athens Rugs today.
Good setup there. Great read by Johnny Steele to take that ball. First touch playing it through to Paulo Junior. Really like the vision that Johnny Steele brings to that Fury midfield.
Steele will take the corner. It'll be a left-footed in-swinger. Here's the delivery from Steele. Gets it back outside the area, where it's sent in and headed away for an Ottawa throw. Near sideline, about 30 yards out. Porter comes across to take it. Playing at left back today. Struggled a little bit at right back last week as he gets it to Johnny Steele. Lays it over the head of Vered, and this will go out for a goal kick in the 7th minute. 0-0. Fury FC in Edmonton against the Eddies. On the right, it's Eddie Edward. Turns. Plays it forward. It comes to the halfway line, but given away, and Johnny Steele finds de Guzman. He's clicked by Rodales and comes into the center circle for Steele.
Great
Bailey.
turn by Bailey in the middle.
Just couldn't find anyone, Bailey. As it goes wide left, FC Edmonton on the attack. And the ball goes beyond Nyasi, and it deflected off of Rich Balshin. So this will be another Athens Rugs corner for FC Edmonton here in the 8th minute. Delivery from Nyasi. High into the air. Headed clear from Johnny Steele. Sent forward for Paulo Junior. And it goes off him last for an Eddie's throw right at the halfway line. Fourth straight road match for Ottawa Fury FC. They'll be happy to end that with their home opener next Saturday afternoon at TD Place. That'll be a 2 o'clock kickoff on TSN 1200. Look forward to that one. Teo Gauthier will have the call with myself. Richard Starnes off in Ireland.
Vacationing in the land of Guinness. And that'll mark a nice, welcome home run for Fury FC. It'll be 4 straight league matches at home and 5 of 6, because they'll obviously have that one Amway Canadian Championship match in there as well. That will see them return back here to Clark Field.
Bailey called for the foul here as Rodales goes down inside the Ottawa half. So a free kick coming for FC Edmonton.
Get a good meal out of that one.
It was definitely a foul against Bailey, but it was definitely not as serious as Rodales certainly would have shown from the outset. And now he's back up and taking the free kick. Delivers into the penalty area, headed away. Eddie still have possession. It's Eddie Edward. He gets the cross in, and important touch here by Alves will give. Oh, I thought that was off Alves. It's going to be a goal kick, 11th minute.
That was good marking by Alves, but a diving header. The last touch came from Jake Keegan.
So 11th minute, 0-0 in Edmonton. Bezer playing on the right side of his 18-yard box. Delivers. Comes forward as Ottawa attacks here. Good run, Paulo Junior, and he's stopped by Van Oekel. Very important save there as Paulo Junior gets the first quality chance for either side in the 11th minute. And now a free kick given FC Edmonton's way. De Guzman called for the foul.
Great touch there by Rich Balshin to spring free Paulo Junior.
Balshin, a newcomer to Ottawa Fury FC, but no newcomer to the NASL. Great to have some experience in the league at right back.
Played with the Tampa Bay Rowdies and came to know Paul Dalglish during his time with Real Salt Lake, where he was drafted out of university.
Eddie's in possession. Middle of the park, it's Albert Watson. Launches this forward for Nyasi, but cleared away. And it will go out for an Eddie's throw. You mentioned this is year number 6 for FC Edmonton. They still have yet to break through with a playoff appearance. They were close last year, but just couldn't get to that 4th spot with Fort Lauderdale beating them out.
And came close even the year prior and just kind of ran out of gas towards the end of the year. And really that's what, you know, stresses the importance of the setup of the league in terms of a spring and a fall season. And look, it's tough to win the spring season after you've dropped points in 4 or 5 games, whether that's losses or draws as well, especially when you look at a club like Carolina, who's won all 4 of their games to start the season. So it's going to be tough to catch a club like that, but every point matters in the spring season if you're a club that you feel that you're going to be in a position to chase down the 3 and 4 spots for the postseason, the wild card spots, if you will, because what Fury FC did last year, winning the fall season, that's the harder season to win.
This ball goes off of Johnny Steele out for a corner for Athens Rugs. And FC Edmonton will have it from the near corner flag. "14th minute. Looking for our first goal of the match. Dustin Correa will take this corner. It'll be a left-footed delivery and an in-swinger. And they're calling a foul here against the Eddies. Keegan got ahead to it. Didn't miss by much, but wouldn't have mattered anyways with the foul against FC Edmonton as Porter plays it back for Timbo. Back to his keeper, Pezer. Now Timbo. Steele, back to Timbo. And he plays it back to Pezer. Header here as the Eddies win possession. And they get it wide left. Comes back to Watson. Across Diakite. Now Albert Watson about 10 yards beyond his penalty area. Wide left. Johan Smith. Plays this high into the air, and Yetis gain control. There's the cross. Headed across the face of goal, and Timbo deals with it. Still in the 18-yard box, but they're going to call a handball against FC Edmonton. So free kick coming Ottawa's way.
A dangerous ball into the box for FC Edmonton. Perhaps one of their best opportunities of this match. We talked about it in the broadcast last week, and you're looking at the skill set and the quality of players in USL, NASL, MLS, and the ones that are coming from South America and Europe, and really it's the pace in which players can play the game here in the NASL, and you look at that last opportunity by Keegan trying to get that second touch to get the ball under control instead of getting that first shot opportunity away. You look around the league, the guys that are scoring the best goals, they're the guys who are able to get those opportunities on that first touch. That's what made Ottawa's lone goal this season, was players' ability to make those movements on that first touch.
Ottawa with a throw here in the 17th minute. Still scoreless. Porter will take this. 35 yards out. Headed back to him. De Guzman goes in for a tackle. But Edward plays it back for Diakite, and he'll launch this high into the air. It's still short of the halfway line. Header won by Steele. And it comes to Bailey. Is this forward? Paulo Jr. on the right, Balshin. The ball that goes beyond Paulo Jr. It's shepherded out for an FC Edmonton goal kick.
Well, say what you will about Albert Watson. He's a big physical player, and he's a tough player to get beyond. Granted, his physicality, perhaps why he earned a red card in the opening match of the season and thus missing their second match. But he's been the leader of this FC Edmonton squad for a number of years now, and certainly one of the more daunting center backs to play against in this league.
Say what you will about the Eddies, and they still haven't been able to break through with success, but they do have an identity.
Direct?
Well, direct. They're a physical side. They're a gritty side. It's not a pretty brand of soccer. As here comes Vered in midfield, 25 yards out, gives this a go, but didn't get much on it. As Timbo wins a header in the center circle for Ottawa. Comes through to Guzman.
Yeah, and this is where the ball needs to stay on the ground
Paulo
for Ottawa.
Jr. Oh, nice move as he works left. Paulo Jr. Good tackle here, Diakite, but he goes down, and this is going to be, I think, sent out by the Eddies for an injury, although, no, it's going to be sent out by Julian de Guzman. Looks like Diakite is going to be okay.
Didn't really see where it was. Diakite comes in with the two-footed challenge in on Paulo Jr. Nothing there from Paulo Jr. at all.
So back at it. Eddie's play it forward, comes right to Pezer. He'll get it to Alves across for Timbo. Edge of the Ottawa penalty area. Up to the left back, Kyle Porter, who spent 2 seasons with FC Edmonton, 2011 and 2012. Timbo into the center circle. Sent wide right by Bailey. Balshin. The ball forward, it's intercepted. But a good challenge here by Bailey, and Ottawa's got possession back. Ball over the top from Steele. Headed by Howarth, and it goes out off the Eddies for an Ottawa throw. Howarth will leave it there. Balshin will take this. In for Howarth with a quick turn. Back to Balshin. Left-footed delivery into the penalty area. Diakite goes into the air to head it clear. Steele wins the ball back for the Fury. Porter back to Timbo. Across for Alves just inside the Fury half.
Steele seems to just get better with every match in that midfield, especially with the energy we're seeing from him.
Balshin with the cross and wasn't able to keep it in play, so it'll be a goal kick here in the 22nd minute. Still scoreless in Edmonton. While this is going on in Edmonton, TD Place occupied today by Red Blacks mini camp, which runs Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so fans can get out and get their football fix that way if they're Canadian football fans. And if you're a fan of the beautiful game, don't forget to pick up your tickets for the home opener. Fury FC, Miami FC next Saturday. Mason Trafford will be back. One of many homecomings to TD Place this season.
Miami FC still in search of their first win of the season. 2 losses, 2 draws in their opening 4 matches. They dropped a 3-2 decision to their expansion cousins Rio OKC on Friday night. Fort Lauderdale Strikers picked up a point with a 1-1 draw against Jacksonville Armada. Richie Ryan's squad, is the former Fury captain, picked up his first point with Jacksonville.
Porter was able to beat one man there, but then I don't know if that was a shot or a pass or a cross or what it was, but it was off base from Kyle Porter, and it's a goal kick. The Eddies push it back into the Fury half. It'll be scooped up here by Pézère.
Just back to the Jacksonville match, it was an assist for Richie Ryan, his first point with the Armada. They have 4 points on the season with a win, a loss, and a draw. They will be coming to TD Place as well in the spring season.
Fury work it down the right. It's Rich Balshin, who's had an active first half. Balshin with the cross, and that's cleared away by Watson. Fury regained possession. On the right, it's Balshin. Loses it, and Watson sends this forward. Alves wins the header, but the Eddies have possession, and it's sent up the left flank before it goes out of touch for an Ottawa throw inside their own half.
Just to close out the NASL scoreboard, Carolina Railhawks, as we mentioned, remain perfect 4-0-0 with their 3-1 win over the Tampa Bay Rowdies last night. And for the second week running, the New York Cosmos drop a decision at the death as Minnesota United convert Christian Ramirez in the 90th minute for the 1-0 victory over New York. Of course, the Cosmos last weekend gave up 2 stoppage time goals to Indy 11 in a 2-1 defeat.
For Ottawa, a win today, and they'd be able to move ahead of Edmonton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Jacksonville, level on points with Rio OKC, and just 1 off of Indy and Tampa Bay, 2 off of 4th place New York, or 3rd place New York. So certainly could change the standings with a win in a hurry, as here come the Eddies with an attack. The cross cleared away by Timbo, and Vered tracking back will launch this into the Edmonton half. Carolina, the only unblemished team, 12 points from 4 matches. Minnesota with 9, New York 6, Indy and Tampa 5, OKC 4, Jacksonville 3, 2 each, Miami and Fort Lauderdale 1 each for the 2 sides battling today in this Canadian Derby. As here's a nice run in midfield from Vered, but a hard tackle gets Edmonton possession once more, and it comes back to Pézère, and Ottawa will push it up deliberately from the back once again. Here's Julian de Guzman.
And a good challenge by Albert Watson there, and good on him to get ball and only ball, because if he had made contact with Edon Vered, not only would he sent him in about 5 different directions, but likely would have garnered a card with leaping in with 2 feet on that one.
Hard to say the Eddies have even had a half chance yet. Here in the 26th minute.
No, they put some dangerous balls into the box, but just not that finishing touch on goal.
Ottawa's had the one clear chance. A great save by Matt Van Oekel off of Paulo Junior. Alves to the halfway line on the right. Trying to spring Howarth, who wins a throw right near the corner flag. Howarth gives it back to Bolshin. It comes to Guzman and back into the center circle. Fernando Timbo. Now Steele. Ball down the left, looking for Porter. Johan Smith gets in the way, and he moves it back for Diakite. And this is going to be a Fury throw here. And we've got first substitution, and Julian de Guzman forced to leave here, and so Mauro Eustachiou will replace the Canadian captain in central midfield. Anything you see there that?
No, I haven't seen anything. Anything would suggest that he picked up a knock or anything thus far. Keep an eye on the touchline and see if de Guzman starts to receive any treatment or anything.
Here's Bailey in midfield for Ottawa Fury FC, about 40 yards out. Lays this back for Bolshin. Now Alves for Bolshin. Alves sends this down the right, looking for his Brazilian compatriot Paulo Junior. It's knocked out for a Fury throw. Taken quickly. Looking for Howarth. It comes back in the right. Bolshin. He's knocked down. Referee says play on. Comes across for Ed. Now a left-footed shot by Steele, and that one misses wide. Johnny Steele with an effort from long range.
Better ball movement across the top of the box from Fury FC, and we now see de Guzman's hamstring being tended to there on the touch line. And, you know, anytime you have a player like Julian de Guzman coming out of a match, you say, oh, well, it's a tough loss. But at the same time, bringing in a player like Mauro Eustachiou, who we saw him play some very crucial minutes, filling in for Richie Ryan and Julian de Guzman at various points last season, really making the most of every opportunity that he had. Hasn't cracked the starting lineup thus far this season. But certainly a great opportunity for him to make a statement to earn starting minutes coming into this match so early.
Paulo Junior fouled inside the Ottawa half, so Ottawa will have a free kick. But yeah, I mean, Mauro Eustachiou might be my Mason Trafford of this year. I was quite vocal. It's still early, I'm not there yet. I was quite vocal after Ottawa was knocked out of the Amway and 5 games into the season that it was time for Mason Trafford to start playing. Ottawa was gifting goals left, right, and center. Sure enough, Trafford ended up getting into the starting lineup and helped solidify things there. And I'm not quite there yet, but Mauro Eustachiou is a guy who started a large part of a fall season, which Ottawa won. I'd like to see him get a little bit more playing time as well. 30th minute, 0-0. worked on the right for an Ottawa throw right at the halfway line. And a free kick given up here is, once again, Paulo Junior is knocked to ground. Christian Rodales called for this one. So we're a third of the way through this match today, and certainly no sign that either side is going to break out offensively. Here's Eustachio dispossessed, and down the left comes Correa. The ball that's dealt with by Rafael Alves for a throw. Balshin will play this for Eustachio. Balshin, an overhead kick. Eddie's gained possession. Good challenge here by Johnny Steele. Or by Vered, and he gets it to Johnny Steele. Steele with the ball looking for Vered, but just didn't quite have the timing there, and comes all the way back to Pézère. Red certainly looks like a player with a strong work rate that gets back and wins a lot of balls in his own half.
Yeah, we saw a lot from him in both of the past two matches. Of course, that goal, I think, against Indy 11 certainly injected some energy and confidence into his game. First time he's made his way over to the North American scene. And if you have a look at what he's produced when he's with Red Star Belgrade and elsewhere, a high energy player, and certainly has an ability to finish.
Oh, Johnny Steele wins the ball here into Vered, 20 yards out, plays this wide right. Paulo Junior just outside the penalty area with a turn, gets it for Eustachio, gonna find some space in the middle, feeds Johnny Steele. Ball edge of the area, and Eddie's able to win this. And they'll plow it up the field. As Fury work it up from the back again. James Bailey. Now to Edon Vered. Nice turn, but cleared out for an Ottawa throw. Comes down the left for Johnny Steele. Eustachio now to Rafael Alves, halfway line. Goes wide right. Here's Howarth. Goes back into the middle, Eustachio. Moves this wide left for Porter. Back into the middle, Johnny Steele. We'll get this forward. It's Vered now. 25 yards out. Edon Vered. Wide left, Porter, and just a little too much.
Yeah, and
on
that's
that
where
ball for a goal kick, FC Edmonton.
And that's where the Eddies are really tough to break down inside their own half. You just see that wall of white and blue lined up across the top of their own 18-yard box. It's hard when the pace of the game slows down in the attacking third, when that's the type of defense that you're going to have to contend with from Edmonton.
Yeah, who's going to be the player with the quality to make that incisive pass in the final third to break down a stout defense like this? Last year, a lot of times it was Sinisha Ubi-Peripovic. Is Johnny Steele a player that...
Yeah, well, we've seen some good balls from him through in the last 5-6 minutes. He has that touch. He has the ability to do so. But again, on a previous series, when you saw the mistime ball just through to Edon Vered, it really, I think, comes down to a matter of timing, which part and parcel has to do with chemistry as this team continues to find its way to gel together.
36th minute, 0-0. Fury gained possession again as it's sent forward over the top. And an important challenge here by Diakite, but it was a high challenge. And Ottawa with a man down in the penalty area. It's Carl Howarth who took the brunt of that. He did get all ball, Diakite.
Yeah, no, there wasn't any contact there.
So Howarth shakes that off, and the Eddies will drop ball, just send this. Actually, it's Johnny Steele who's going to send it back to the Eddies. 37th minute, 0-0. Hard tackle on the far side by James Bailey. That leads to an FC Edmonton throw.
In the last 15 minutes or so now, you've started to see the game swing a little bit in the favor of Fury FC, at least where possession is concerned and ball movement. At one point, FC Edmonton had about 67% of the possession to their favor. Now swung the other way in favor of Fury FC. They now have over 53%.
Chilly day in Edmonton. This ball is punched out by Pazer, and another free kick against the Eddies in the Fury 18-yard box leads to this Fury free kick. 3 degrees in Edmonton this afternoon. They've had a lot of warm weather recently, and supposed to be warm for the next few weeks as well, but unfortunately for the two sides playing today, that doesn't really matter much as they play in some cool temperatures.
Chatting with the Eddies broadcast team yesterday and talking about the weather they expected, and last weekend they were in Tampa Bay when the weather in Edmonton was perhaps even better than what they had in Tampa. We could argue the same, that it was last Saturday in the nation's capital would have been a beautiful day for a home opener, and
I'm
even a little bit cooler in Carolina.
I'm on record, play one game in late April here in Ottawa.
It is late April. It's the end of April next weekend.
2-1 and then back on the road.
Semantics, AJ.
I'm going to keep pushing for that until the cows come home. 2 road games to start the year is enough. The average temperature, Graham Ivory, in late April in Ottawa, do you want to know what it is? It's 15 degrees.
15 degrees. Okay, noted.
Don't need to play the first month away from home, but that's just one man's opinion on the broadcast.
All right, we'll put that memo into the NASL office to the new scheduling commissioner of the league. Should be one Aaron John Jackiebeck.
I should. You're absolutely right on that.
I won't even get you started on Red Black scheduling either. Silence.
Well, that's better than starting with 4 games on the road. It's not.
Look,
it's not
you know
that
what?
cold in late April.
Listen, look, I totally agree with you. It's always tough, and Paul Dalglish spoke about that and saying, like, look, it is tough when you're making these trips, especially when you're going cross country like this to Edmonton. That certainly wears on a player, especially to start the year. You could argue that a team as new as Fury FC are, it's a great opportunity for these players to, that you're really spending a lot of time together. You're traveling together, you're rooming together. Perhaps something that's good to try and to get them to gel together. The schedule, it's sorted. Nothing you can do about it. But what then becomes important is what's going to happen in the next series of home games at TD Place, because regardless of what happens, today, 1 point out of the opening 3 games, you need to get some good results in those first 4 matches here at TD Place.
Howarth for Paulo Junior into the penalty area, but just couldn't find any space with it. And it's cleared. "41st minute. Still scoreless. Fury FC and FC Edmonton. Again, these two sides will square off twice next month. May 11th, back at Clark Field in Edmonton. May 18th at TD Place, as Paulo Junior concedes a free kick at the halfway line. That for the Amway Canadian Championship in the quarterfinals. The winner to take on the Vancouver Whitecaps in early June in the semis. It'll be Toronto FC and Montreal Impact in the other semi. So Ottawa looking to reach the semis and get past Edmonton in the quarterfinals for the first time ever. Their 3rd season in that competition. Down the right, across, it goes deep, headed on target, but from distance, and not a ton of pace on that one from Nyasi, easily grabbed by Pézère.
After a bit of a disappointing start to the MLS season for the Vancouver Whitecaps, scored a massive win last night at home against league-leading FC Dallas.
Eddie's back in possession here on the right. It's Correa. Trying to get away from Vered with the cross. It's a good ball and played across the face of goal here. It's Nyasi again, but no one able to latch onto it in the 6-yard box.
Well, Nyasi and Correa have swapped sides. Great delivery there from Dustin Correa to Nyasi, who had made that run towards the back post.
Important challenge there from Timbo, but it comes to Eddie Edward, 25 yards out on the right. Edward making a run towards the byline. Porter with a real good tackle. And Kyle Porter wins it for Ottawa Fury FC as they start their counter.
Well, you might say that he got just enough of the ball there, Kyle Porter, as he got all of Eddie Edward on that last challenge.
Let him yell, I got it.
Oh, Correa skips past 2 Ottawa defenders on the right. Dustin Correa, and tracking back is Johnny Steele to knock this out for a throw.
He had made the right move there. Correa got beyond Porter and Steele and should have favored the right-footed cross. Instead tried to pull it back to his left and was dispossessed on the play.
Well, they're calling a free kick here as Correa went down. I thought he went down a little easily. That's a foul on Steele.
No, again, we saw this on a similar challenge earlier on Rodales. Was it a foul? Yes, but they're certainly making a meal of some of these challenges.
So 44th minute free kick here for Rodales on the right, about 22 yards out. Dangerous spot. Here's the cross, and it's not very impressive. Dealt with, and back comes Ottawa on the counter here. Lots of space in front of them. The ball is beyond Vered and right to Van Oekel, the Eddie's keeper.
Well, and that's a position that last season you were really, concerned with giving up a free kick to FC Edmonton when they had that boot of Lance Lang, when you not only have the accuracy but the power behind a free kick. Not as threatening on that last opportunity there from Rodales. And a bit of an overhit ball from Eustachio, with Vered making the run forward on the counter.
Free kick given Ottawa's way here as we're approaching stoppage time. Can't imagine there's too much here in the first half. Edmonton with pretty good soccer tradition and history, going back to late 70s, early 80s when Peter Pocklington owned the Drillers. As there's the halftime whistle, there's actually no stoppage time, so it is 0-0 at halftime. And really just the one quality chance from Paulo Junior.
Yeah, it was a very cautious opening 45 minutes from both squads. I think both knowing the value that comes out of this game in terms of the points won and lost. Great ball through to Paulo Junior from Rich Balshin. Gets one good touch on it, but again, heads up goalkeeping from Matt Van Okel to come away and dispossess him before he'd have a second touch to round the keeper. But you're right, other than that, that was really the only threatening opportunity. You know, a lot of back and forth throughout the midfield, but neither side is really taking control of this game, although, again, not the best opening 10 minutes from Fury FC, but once again, they settle into the match a lot better. They'll need to make sure that they come out with that same mentality to start the second half from what we saw them finish the opening 45 minutes with.
So what you're saying is take the under today.
No, all for the goals, JJ, all for the goals.
Hey, trust me, I'm hoping we see some goals and a little more action in the second half myself. All right, coming up next, Steve Bunda will have a TSN 1200 sports update. We'll give you the halftime stats and much more. 0-0 the score at halftime in Edmonton. You're listening to Ottawa Fury FC Soccer on TSN 1200. 0-0 the score at halftime. Graham, what can we expect here in the second half?
As you say that with a twinkle in your eye. Look, I really think, and I said this off the beginning of the match, I think that someone's going to have to take a jump here and take an opportunity, because where both teams are at through their opening 3 games, a single point isn't enough. Now, there's no question that Ottawa, more than Edmonton, would gladly take the point and say, all right, through the opening 4 matches, all on the road, we got 2. We come home with 4 straight NASL regular season matches at home, not including the Amway match against Edmonton, and we have a chance to gain some points here. But both teams need the 3, and someone's going to have to take that risk going forward. Edmonton had a little bit more creativity in their attack. They had put a lot of good crosses that really they weren't able to get on the end of. But Ottawa has been able to put some dangerous balls through. They're just going to have to try and find that pace to get in behind the likes of Albert Watson and Pap Diakite if they want to find the back of the net. Fortunately for them, they have the pace to do so with players like Paulo Jr., Carl Howarth, and Edon Vered in attack.
So, second half action here in Edmonton, and a bit of a mishap there as Alves played it back to Pézère, and he had to play it out for a corner as the ball was a little too hard. And so a corner right off the hop for Athens Rugs. The opening 30 seconds of the second half. Here's the delivery, headed on goal, and it's in. The Eddies are on the board, and it's Albert Watson, the captain, who got his head on that corner. 1-0 Eddies, 46th minute.
Well, it's another tough way to start the first half. For the second week in a row, Ottawa concedes in the opening 2 minutes of the second half. A mishap from Rafael Alves forces an opportunity for FC Edmonton, and the captain, Albert Watson, not just the first goal of the season from the Eddies, converting the header towards the back post. And now work to do for Fury FC.
Well, it took 316 minutes for FC Edmonton to finally get their first goal of the season. But they're on the board here. I guess when I was hoping for goals in the second half, I wasn't hoping for that one right off the bat. And now a free kick here. Rodales will take this about 30 yards out. Dead center. Rodales steps up, and he gets way under this one. That's wide right on a field goal. If they're playing football of the Canadian variety.
In the building that
at the former Clark Stadium.
That Clark Stadium is in the shadows of in Commonwealth.
It's back when Jackie Parker was playing there. It's a stadium that Jackie Parker built. Fury FC in possession here. It's Bailey. Gets this forward. Long effort here from Paulo Jr. And that one's right on target into the arms of Van Oekel from distance. Eddie's fans getting into it. Not a lot of them in attendance, but again, they're spirited. Look forward to hearing the cheers of the Bytown boys and Stony Monday Riot next Saturday with the home opener. That's going to be a lot of fun. Miami FC, the opposition, 2 o'clock start. April 30th at TD Place.
A solid crowd expected for the home opener next Saturday. And you talk about the two supporters groups and another group of supporters, if you like, made up of the youth soccer players in this region as part of the Fury Fanatics program that sees minor soccer players aged 14 and under get free admission into every Fury FC home match for another season.
And what a great program that is. Atmosphere was just fantastic throughout the fall season, and certainly that playoff semifinal against Minnesota was off the hook. Almost 10,000 people in attendance, making a lot of noise. Look forward to many more great moments this season at TD Place. But first, need to find a goal here and try to salvage at least 1 point. A lot of time left. 50th minute, 1-0 Eddies. Edmonton in possession. Wide right, it's sent forward by Eddie Edward. And a free kick given Ottawa's way. Alves will take this. Short of the halfway line. He plays it short. It comes wide right for Bolshin. Rich Bolshin. Nyasi knocks it off him, and because it went off Bolshin, it will be an Edmonton throw. Mentioned the great soccer history and tradition in Edmonton going back to the Drillers, who played, as you mentioned, Clark Field in the shadows of Commonwealth Stadium. That's where the old Drillers played. But they also had the Edmonton Brickmen in the old Canadian Soccer League, and they played at Clark. Of course, Ottawa had their own short-lived team, the Intrepid. Fury win it. Into the middle, it's Howarth trying to turn, and he's knocked to ground for a free kick in the center circle. That's Diakite, who's had a very active game so far in central defense.
Well, certainly a big ask of Carl Howarth playing in that center forward role this afternoon, going up against the more sizable opponents in Pap Diakite and Albert Watson.
Here's Alves. Cross for Timbo. Just past the halfway line. Moves it forward, gets it back, and the ball down the left goes out for a Fury throw. Quickly taken for Howarth. Into the penalty area, right-footed shot, it's blocked. Howarth was looking for handball. I'm not sure he had that case. Have to wait for the replay. So Ottawa wins another free kick here, just inside their own half. Eustachio gets it forward. Here's Vered. Now for Howarth. This is better from Ottawa. Bailey wide right. Bolshin. Quick little 1-2, but it doesn't get back to him as Nyasi clears this, but Ottawa regains possession. Down the left. Bolshin with a cross, overhit it, and this will be a goal kick. FC Edmonton, 53rd minute. FC Edmonton 1, Ottawa Fury FC 0.
Yeah, much better ball movement there by Ottawa Fury FC as we have a chance to look at the last goal there that Albert Watson was able to get a touch of to give Edmonton the lead. But I like that last opportunity there from Carl Howarth, and that's the type of play you need from him to take those players on 1v1. He has the footwork, he has the pace in his game, and if he can get in and around the 18-yard box, he certainly has the power behind his shot to beat a keeper. Smooth touch there from Alves to dispossess Nyasi.
Yeah, impressive from the Brazilian as Fury works their way down the left. Ball comes to Bailey. Now it's Vered. Oh, nice from Edon Vered, but Right after he skipped past one defender, he just gave the ball away a little too cheaply. But now wins it back with another challenge. Yeah, not afraid to get in and win some of those balls. FC Edmonton push it across the back four, though it's Watson. Wide left for Johan Smith. Being pressured here by Paulo Junior, and Bailey takes the ball. He'll play it into the middle. Comes to Howarth. Oh, good ball for Bailey. Here's Bailey, and a very important challenge there from Eddie Edward, the Ottawa native. Edward down in some pain, but that was a very good tackle from Edward.
Well, a great ball in there to James Bailey, and kind of his first touch let him down a little bit too heavy there, and then when he tried to make the attempt on goal, gets a lot of the ankle of Eddie Edwards right beneath the shin pad, and he's going to go into the books for. I think that's a very harsh yellow card, because while Bailey, I'm sure, sensed that there was something coming, he was thinking he'd get an opportunity on goal, and I don't think there was any malicious intent there on Eddie Edward, who remains down in a significant degree of discomfort.
So Bailey, the first player to receive a card today. '56th minute. And Edward limping off to the touchline. See if he's able to get back in there. Edward still a big fan of Ottawa's other sports teams. I know he's a huge Ottawa Senators fan. And even tweeted a picture of himself when Ottawa was in Edmonton, the Senators taking on the Oilers earlier this year, wearing some Senators gear. So still has some love for the nation's capital. Fury work it down the left, and they're going to win a corner here. Good work by Edon Vered. This corner for Athens Rugs in the 57th minute. Can Ottawa find this second half equalizer? Johnny Steele will deliver, left-footed outswinger. Headed out. It goes right to Bolshin. Not a great ball into the box. Steele heads it. Ottawa forced back. Just inside their own half. Eustachio covering. Mauro in across the halfway line. Wide right, Bolshin. Back into the middle, Mauro Eustachio. We'll move this wide left. As the ball is won here by Vered. Bounces to the far touchline where the Eddies win a throw. 59th minute now. And a 1-0 Edmonton lead off the header from the corner. Albert Watson. With the Eddies' first goal of the season.
This game is long from over, but I can tell you that the Ice Bags will be well used when this match is over from players from both sides.
Well, it's always a physical affair whenever these two sides meet. No love lost. The 11th meeting between Fury and the Eddies, as once again they give up possession a little too easily. 4 in the Amway Canadian Championship, and this is the 7th league meeting. And again, Ottawa looking to finally break through and face MLS opposition. It's going to be hard to top. It's still so early in the season that you don't know where this season is going to be, but it is going to be tough regardless to top what happened last year. Storybook season, winning the fall season championship, winning a semifinal game at home in front of that great atmosphere, as we mentioned earlier, against Minnesota on Tom Heinemann's winner in extra time, before finally losing in the Soccer Bowl to New York. But one area where I think the club would really love to break through is that Amway Canadian Championship, as Howarth makes a run down the right and wins a throw deep in the FC Edmonton territory. But boy, if they could make a run in the Amway and at least get past Edmonton and face MLS opposition like the Vancouver Whitecaps in the semi-final, that would be a real step and another step for the club. I'm not sure what that effort was from about 50 yards out, but it's well beyond the capabilities of Timbo to score from there, I would think. Unless he's got a little Roberto Carlos that I'm unaware of. Goal kick, FC Edmonton. But would you agree, Graham, that that would have to be a major focus? I mean, obviously, it's a cup competition, and it can be ended in 2 matches, where the league is a lot more. It'll be 32 this year, when Puerto Rico is in the league, and 10 in the spring, 22 in the fall. So as disappointing as it was last year that they got knocked out in the Amway quarterfinals, it ended up being a fantastic season. But I would have to think that is going to be a major focus this year.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it was last year as well. But the one thing that the tournament has certainly improved on now is that it's played much later into the spring, as opposed to coming in mid to late April, when both sides, at least where Ottawa and Edmonton are concerned, are still trying to find their way. And they've only played 2 or 3 league matches, and they've already entered into a cup competition. So I certainly like that the schedule has been augmented, and now that they're going to be playing kind of mid-May, you've got a few other games under your belt, and I think it makes for a much stronger competition, especially for the club that moves on to face MLS opposition.
63rd minute, FC Edmonton 1, Fury FC 0, as Fury work it down the right into the Edmonton half. Bolshin making a run, but Johan Smith able to get it away from him. Smith plays this forward, and this will go out for an Ottawa throw. The other thing I like about the fact they're playing this later, and this has always been a beef of mine going back before even Ottawa was in the competition, is just the fact that it's played, will still be played opposite the Stanley Cup playoffs, but it's always played in the first round. And I can remember a night where Montreal, the Impact, were playing Vancouver on the same night that the Canadians and the Canucks were playing Game 7, I believe, 2011. Canadians were playing Boston, and then the Canucks were playing Chicago. And, well, guess what? You're not going to win that battle. Now, if you play a little bit later into the Stanley Cup playoff season, and this is a prime example this year, well, you've got the competition basically to yourself, and you're not fighting like Ottawa was last year, opposite a game where the Hamburglers playing in the playoffs against Montreal. Well, guess what? The crowd was about 2,700. It was vocal. It was a great atmosphere even with 2,700, but maybe they can get 5,000-6,000 for this game against the Eddies on May 18th, and if they win, maybe they get 10,000 against Vancouver. That's
so
why
the pluses of not having Canadian teams in the NHL playoffs is what you just said.
Well, it should be later in the season, as I said.
No, hey, I brought the point up. I agree.
Commissioner of Scheduling and Commissioner of the Amway. How's that?
Oh, my goodness.
Where
will you find the time, AJ?
I'm sure by the end of the broadcast we can find a couple more spots where I could be useful as well.
Well, I can think of a few.
James Bailey called for a foul. So the Eddies have possession inside their own half. 65th minute. 1-0 they lead it. Push down the right, but Fury get it back. Comes to Alves dangerously in his own penalty area, but did well to get that forward for Balshin. And Balshin will make the run himself with acres of space in front of him. Deep into the Edmonton half. Good ball down the left. Steal for Vered, and he's able to win a corner if this spins out. Didn't. That ball just kind of spun at the byline and didn't go out of play.
Great run there on the last series by Rich Balshin, showing the pace that he has.
Offside flag up against Ottawa.
And this is certainly not a comment on the play of Kyle Porter, but I really like what I've seen from Rich Balshin on the right side tonight.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better with more game action for sure.
And of course, Porter playing out of position at left back tonight. Fury FC will have new to the squad, but has been signed for some time, left back in Ottawa, Thomas Obasi, who just won the MASL Indoor Championship with the Baltimore Blast.
Tembo's getting a yellow card here for Ottawa. Second player on a yellow now, the first being James Bailey. Should mention as well, Rafael Alves wearing the captain's armband, the one substitution today, with Captain Julian de Guzman going off with what looked like a hamstring injury, replaced by Mauro Eustachio. I also don't like it when people call Ottawa Fury FC the Ottawa Fury FC. That's another pet peeve of mine while we're at it.
That makes two of us.
As the PA announcer just said, the Ottawa Fury FC. It's either the Ottawa Fury or Ottawa Fury FC.
You'll like this because in the brand guidelines, and you're ready for next week. It is the Miami FC, according to the Miami FC. So you can have that one in your repertoire for the home opener next Saturday.
Offside flag up against the Eddies. Are they trying to be like the Ohio State University? 68th minute, 1-0 Eddies, and has Ottawa had a chance in the second half? I can't remember one. Had one good one in the first half from Paulo Junior. Stopped by Van Okel. As they push forward here, it's Edon Vered, about 25 yards out, and miscommunication as Ottawa gives it up here. Correa with a ball in, and it's a left-footed shot. 2-0. So major mistake there. And FC Edmonton is able to take advantage. It's Keegan with his first goal for the club. Jake Keegan, who cut to the middle and Sent a left-footed shot off the side netting and in. 2-0 Eddies.
On Romuald Pézère getting caught out of position there because really Rafael Alves had already made the run to close down Jake Keegan's run to that errant ball.
So
and we said that there was work to do after Albert Watson opened the scoring in the 46th minute. Well, they now find themselves trailing 2-0, and now a substitute coming up as Edon Vered will make his way out in place of Dennis Chin.
So 69th minute goal from Jake Keegan makes it 2-0 FC Edmonton, and the Jamaican Dennis Chin on for the Israeli Edon Vered. As Fury push forward on the right again, it's Bolshin. Bailey. Now Bolshin. To Bailey. The ball that was off the head of Nyasi, out for an Ottawa throw. He's okay, he'll shake it off. Here's Howarth now. Lays it off on the left, looking for Johnny Steele. Didn't get enough on the pass. Nyasi for Edmonton. Back to Correa. Comes wide right. As they push it across the back four, Albert Watson. Diakite to keeper Van Okel here. Eddie's just happy to be deliberate in their build-up. Keep possession in their own half with this 2-0 advantage in the 72nd minute. As it comes here, Rodales with a long shot and not able to get much on that off the bounce. Here's Alves. Timbo. Alves. Bailey to Alves. Now Timbo. Into the Eddie's half, quickly sent back, and Edmonton gains possession here as they move down the right. Comes to Rodales. He'll get this forward, Correa. Dustin Correa about 20 yards out. The ball into the middle. Left-footed shot is blocked. Fury gained possession. And just like that, they give it up again. This has not been a very good second half from Ottawa Fury FC.
No, we talked about this at halftime in terms of what Ottawa needed to do in the second half, and it was to come out to start the second as they finished the first. And we saw this last weekend in Carolina.
Chin unable to keep this in play, and this will be a goal kick as we see the third substitution for Ottawa Fury FC. Johnny Steele will come off, replaced by Uruguayan Brian Oliveira, who looked pretty good off the substitutes bench last week in his Ottawa debut. So that's the final change for Ottawa. It's now Porter, Timbo, Alves, Bolshin in the back. Pézère, of course, in goal. Oliveira, Eustachio, and Bailey in midfield. Chin, Howarth, Paulo Junior up top. FC Edmonton yet to make
Now
that change.
Fordyce has just come off for FC Edmonton on that last sequence.
Tough to tell from our broadcast location here. So Fordyce off, and we'll hopefully get the change momentarily for Edmonton.
I think it's Jason Plumoff has come in, is still trying to get a glimpse at the number.
Yeah, obstructed view seating in the broadcast booth. You think Brooklyn's bad in the Barclays Center? We're miles away.
Gustavo is the replacement for Daryl Fordyce.
So they've made one change as we're in the 76th minute. 2-0 Eddies. Goals from Albert Watson and Jake Keegan. Their first 2 goals of the season. And unless Ottawa can get a goal, Ottawa will be dead last in goals for and points. And tied for dead last in goals against as well. So we see Christian Rodales get a yellow card here for Edmonton. Again, how much of that is trying to get used to all the changes from the offseason? How much of that is playing 4 straight road games? Ottawa made it look so easy on the road last season in the fall season that I think you forget how difficult it is to travel in the NASL when you're in a place like Ottawa or Edmonton and you don't have a lot of direct flights to the other competing cities. And you get delays, and the travel days can be long and tiring, especially if United is the airline.
No comment. Nick Ledgerwood now down for FC Edmonton. Just a correction on the previous substitution. It was Shahaman Shom who came in for Daryl Fordyce, not Gustavo.
If I was the transportation commissioner, I'd just ban United from flying ever again.
Yeah. We're going to have to find a new play-by-play guy with all this, these new jobs that you're going to be managing. What are we going to do?
78th minute, Ottawa down 2-0, and right now not really looking like they're going to sniff a goal, let alone 2, but still plenty of time to try and salvage something in Edmonton here today as Nick Ledgerwood is back up. So Eddie's get the ball back, and Johan Smith will play it into the Fury half, headed away. Eddie's back in possession. Smith for Watson inside his own penalty area, plays it back to the keeper, and this is launched out of play by Van Oekel for an Ottawa throw. Really self-inflicted mistakes leading to the corner, which Edmonton capitalized on and certainly led to the second Edmonton goal.
Well, and from that point, you can be encouraged to a degree, knowing that, look, it's, you know, you're not doing something wrong with kind of the philosophy of your play, although there's still work to be done there in terms of its execution. But you're, as you say, it's self-inflicted errors. You're you know, whether you're not switched on or one guy's being where he shouldn't or expected to be. We've seen that with all the goals they've conceded thus far this year.
Good run by Howarth, comes back to Oliveira with a shot, and that deflects out for a corner. As, once again, Diakite, who's been very prominent in today's game for FC Edmonton, central defense, able to get a piece of that Oliveira shot. Here's the corner for Athens Rugs. Oliveira, the delivery, comes into the penalty area, headed away by the Eddies. Goes into the air, and I think Van Oekel tried to create the contact and the foul. It's exactly what he did. And Yusri Rudolph, who, if I was the commissioner of Canadian soccer officials, would probably be working at the under 8 level. Bought that one hook, line, and sinker.
Well, and Matt Van Oekel is one of the most veteran goalkeepers in the North American Soccer League, and knows how to win a foul. And as we just saw there, I think you're going to have to get the scheduling job down before you start dealing with officiating, AJ.
I'm not saying I want that job. I'm saying if I was, that's where he'd be. Eddie's work it down the right, and again, dangerous. A left-footed shot from distance. Misses that from Correa. Goal kick, Ottawa, 81st minute now. 2-0, FC Edmonton. Fury get it in for Oliveira. Now possession given up, and Eddie Edward comes down the right. Trying to beat Porter. He does skip past Porter. Now the ball into the 18-yard box. Played out for a right-footed shot here by Radalis, and that doesn't get through to goal. Deflected off an Ottawa body. Now Radalis again. 30 yards out, and he will play this edge of the area as Pézère will boot this out with Porter down and laboring a little bit, clutching his left ankle. That's the last thing Ottawa needs is an injury here, as Bailey's down as well. So both Porter and Bailey needing attention, and Ottawa's already used their 3 subs.
Oh, he just catches his toe in the turf and trying to chase down Eddie Edward.
I'm not in any panic. I know it's not the greatest start. I know people are going to be panicking and the sky is going to be falling, but I'd like to see a couple of home matches before I start to really figure out what this Ottawa Fury FC side is going to be. And let's not forget last year, through 7 matches, which includes 5 league matches and the 2 in the Amway Canadian Championship, this was a side that couldn't score goals. This was a side that were leaking goals left, right, and center. They were dead last in the spring season table. They were out of the Amway Canadian Championship, and it ended up being a storybook season for a club that had the same head coach and the core of players that had been there the season before. So, again, made my points known about the scheduling and 4 straight games on the road in April, both from a business standpoint and from a competitive standpoint. I don't think it's all that healthy, but that's water under the bridge now. Hopefully it's rectified for next season. And I think there's a lot of soccer to be played, especially in this spring season, before we rush to judgment on how this season is going to be for Ottawa Fury FC. Here's Bailey in midfield. Alves. Chin. Now Bailey. In the middle for Howarth. He gives up possession. Here come the Eddies on the counter. And this is going to be a free kick given to Ottawa as Correa went to ground. Now we're going to see two more substitutions. Out for Edmonton is Saini Nyasi. And he'll be replaced by Plumhoff. Jason Plumhoff. Dustin Correa also comes off. And Pablito replaces him. Also known as Pablo Cruz. But he's got Pablito on his jersey.
Rocking the nickname.
I'm calling him Pablito. If that's what he wants to go with, I like the name Pablito. I'm all for it. It's not quite as catchy as Prince when it comes to a singular name.
I'd sooner call you Aaron John, but apparently you go by AJ.
Well, you can call me Aaron John if you'd like. If that's would make you happy here in the broadcast booth, I'm willing to compromise for the good of the broadcast. 86th minute, and it's an Ottawa free kick. Dangerous spot here too, about 25 yards out on the left. Two players over it, and it's going to be Bailey delivering, and this is going to go out for a goal kick.
Not a bad delivery there from James Bailey, getting it kind of right through the penalty spot area of the 18-yard box, but no one in red able to make any contact.
So 87th minute now. Bailey, after that goal kick, moves it forward. Once again, the Eddies gain it back all too quickly. Ball into the area for Gustavo with a shot, and a save made by Romuald Pezer. Fury get this forward to Howarth. Now it comes back to Bailey. Timbo in the Ottawa half. James Bailey moves this wide left, gets it back. Bailey with the ball down the left. Offside flag is up. As Dennis Chin got in behind the FC Edmonton defense a little early. Back to the drawing board for Paul Dalgleish and the coaching staff. And I think a pretty good opponent to face. Certainly a competitive team in Miami FC. So Ottawa is going to win a corner here for Athens Rugs, but I think it's probably a good thing that they're not playing Minnesota, for example, on Saturday when you're struggling looking for that first win.
Well, that'll be their next home opponent, so it doesn't come very far off.
Oliveira takes the corner short, gets it back from Bailey. Now delivers into the penalty area, headed towards goal, and this one just misses the far post from Carl Howarth.
Good delivery from Brian Oliveira.
'90th minute now. Hard to imagine Ottawa getting two, but stranger things have happened. Manchester United in the Champions League final against Bayern Munich. Manchester City against QPR to win the league a couple of years back. They need to find their inner Manchester, I guess.
I was going to say, I'm waiting for a Newcastle reference coming here shortly.
I just hope they stay up. Although Rafa Benitez certainly has them headed in the right direction. 3 matches left to stay safe. 3 minutes stoppage time. Which doesn't allow a lot of time for Ottawa to try and get 1, if not 2, to equalize. This is going to be shepherded out for a goal kick for FC Edmonton. Interesting signs in behind the goal.
That's clever. That's points for creativity right there.
Which one did you like? The Godfather?
The Godfather. That one's...
Who was the Godfather?
Tom Fath, the owner of FC Edmonton.
Was that who that picture was? Okay. Eddie's...
You got to tip your hat when they come up with some creative tifos like that. That's a great elements of this game, and you know, perhaps no club better to create those things, at least in North America, than what you see coming out of Portland. Seattle does some great stuff too. Probably best in the world coming out of Borussia Dortmund. There's some fantastic stuff there, although some clubs in South America and perhaps even some of the ones they come up with in Turkey would suggest otherwise. Seen some great stuff come out of Besiktas and Fenerbahce, although it's typically more dominated by flares than tifos.
Not a Galatasaray tifo.
Well, there you go too, right? Yes.
Ottawa with about a minute of stoppage time to work with as Bailey has it center circle. This ball immediately intercepted. Bailey knocked to ground for a free kick inside the Edmonton half, about 45 yards from goal. Ledgerwood called for that. And this might be the last opportunity for Ottawa, down 2 goals. Kick taken by Oliveira into the penalty area, headed across the face of goal by Alves, but taken by Van Oekel, and he's got the ball, and Edmonton has 3 points wrapped up here this afternoon. As he sends this to midfield, there is the full-time whistle from Clark Field in Edmonton with the final. FC Edmonton 2, Ottawa Fury FC 0. Eddie's clearly the better team in the second half.
Yeah, you know, we saw a similar match tonight as we saw a week ago in Carolina, and that has to be disappointing. It was you know, promising might be too heavy of a word to say from the opening first half, as both sides played very cautious, but again, this is a team that I'm certain their confidence is fragile, and they need to score that first goal. We saw the lift it gave them in week 2 against Indy 11 when they scored the opener of that match, and we saw what happened when they conceded early in the second half last week in Carolina. We saw that again here this afternoon against the Eddies, and just not enough going forward for them to feel like they had a fighting chance to get back in this one, especially conceding that second goal to Jake Keegan in the 69th minute. That one certainly put this one out of reach for Fury FC. And you use the expression back to the drawing board earlier in the broadcast, and I don't think you have to go too far back to the drawing board, because there was a lot of positives that came out of that week 2 match in Indianapolis against Indy 11. The way that they were able to dictate the pace and flow of that game, maintain possession, didn't create as many chances as we saw last week in Carolina, but when you have possession of the ball, you're able to dictate the flow and everything of the match. They haven't been able to find that rhythm since, and what the solution is, still not too sure. Certainly, I think it was tough to not have Julian de Guzman in the lineup. That's certainly not a knock on Mauro Eustáquio, who I thought came in and was just fine in the midfield, because it was more what Edmonton was, or more what Ottawa was doing when in possession of the ball. A couple of errors is what led to the pair of goals from the Eddies on the afternoon.
Back with a post-match show in a moment. You're listening to Ottawa Fury FC Soccer on TSN 1200.